This video will look at how to create polygons in Desmos to help with your Desmos project. I've never really done this before, but I've just been playing with it today and found it really quite fascinating, and I think a lot of you will want to use this. So up here, notice I've created, right, the blue, I've created a triangle by just typing in the word. So here, let's do a rectangle, right? Polygon, and then one way to do it is to go ahead and put in the points that you want to create your polygon. So if I wanted to create, let's say, a square or a rectangle, I could do -2, -2, and then put in my next point, -2, -4, and notice it starts to, oh, I put the same point in, -2, -4. It starts to draw it right away. 4, 2, right, there's a triangle, and then we could add one more. I forgot the comma here. So again, if you don't see it, I noticed I forgot the comma here. That's why it's not showing up. And now I thought it was going to create a square, but it draws it in the order that you put it. So notice I did -2, -2, then -4, -2, then I went up here to -4, -2, and I think I totally said that wrong. -2, -2, then I went to -2, -4, then I went to -4, -2, and then down here to -4, -4, which is pretty interesting shape. But if I wanted to make it the rectangle, I would need to switch these last 2 points. So let's change this one to -4, and then change this one to -2. And there, now you've seen I've created a square in here. And then you can play around with the colors. I can go in here and change it to a dotted line. If I didn't want it filled, I could unfill it, and I could change the colors, all the things that you already know how to do. But another way to create polygons, which I find even more fascinating, is to put the points in first. So I've already put in some points. I notice I called them like A equals, and then put the point in B equals, C equals, D equals, and then I've even put in E equals. So I put those points in there, and now I'm going to use the same thing that I used before, typed in polygon, but instead of typing in the points, I'm going to just type in those letters in the order that I want the polygon to be created. So notice here I did A to B to C to D to E, and then it'll go back to A. So when I go ahead and turn this on, right, there's our polygon right there. But what's nice about this is you can come up here and I can move my points around. So if it didn't fit the shape that I wanted exactly, I could come in here and move the points till it fit the specific shape that I wanted. So a lot of you might find this really interesting if you're trying to match a shape that you can't quite come up with an equation for, especially if it's one with kind of straight lines that create it. Obviously, if there's curves, you would want to add more points to try to create curves, but the polygon is only going to allow you to use those straight lines in here. But I do find this, right, it might be an easy way to match up some of those shapes. And then you could obviously go in here, if that's the shape that you wanted, you could go back and turn off your points because you don't really probably need to see those in there. So there's a way that you can use polygons to help you with your Desmos project.